Hey everyone, it's Tristan from Crafting Worlds, and today we're going to be talking about the successor or parallel keyboard to the NuPhy 60HE that we discussed in a previous review. The comments from that were interesting. I now have an understanding that people view low profile in many different ways. So for me, low profile is not only the thickness of the board and the keycaps, because for me, I can get a keyboard such as like the Wooting or something like that, and I can put MOA keycaps and thinner keycaps and get a lower profile keyboard. But for some, they're putting these on top of their, laptops, and they need it to be light and as thin as possible. And I totally understand that. For me, though, a low profile keyboard is just something that I enjoy typing on at my desk. I don't really travel with it as much. I use it in a stationary position, and I like the key press to be a shorter distance. That to me has always been the defining feature of a low profile keyboard to me. And it seems as though that is a very subjective opinion. I am and always will be coming from the idea that the Apple Chiclet keyboard is my go-to low profile keyboard. And obviously the distance on a membrane or a scissor switch keyboard is minimal. And so to me, that always meant low profile. I didn't really think about the thickness of the board as much as how far the key had to go. That being said, I do understand why some other people may think differently, and that's totally cool. So I'm actually interested. Drop down in the comments below and tell me what you think a low profile keyboard is defined by. Is it the actual thickness of the board, or is it the distance of the key, or is it both? There is one thing that I definitely will stick to, because a lot of people were defending the keycaps scratching and the fact that they had LEDs shining through them like easily and it looked terrible. I want to just reiterate this. Companies work for you and I. You don't work for companies. The blind brand loyalty that I see sometimes towards companies, or the, oh, it doesn't affect me type of attitude, is crazy to me. Like, just because it doesn't affect you or doesn't bother you doesn't mean that it's not a quality of life or quality control issue that others should not have to experience, especially when you're paying money. So let's take a look at what happens when you do say things about a keyboard constructively and the company listens. We have the NuPhy Air 75HE here. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to plug it in. And the first thing you're going to notice when I bring it up is there is no shine through on the keys. The LEDs are not making it through the keycaps. They changed the keycaps. They also moved the modifier clear keys over to the right. Fantastic. As well, your modifier keys in black. If for some reason you don't like these, you can change them out so that they say what they're supposed to be. But I love that they moved it over to the right instead of being on these modifier keys that no one really touch types, or if you do, you're much better typer than I am. So I'm sure there are many of you. Another thing I see a lot of people talking about is this that comes in that covers the keyboard. This is kind of like putting plastic on a couch. I don't understand this. I don't get it. A lot of people call this a dust cover, and I don't know. I feel like that's a weird description of a piece of plastic in a board. But if you were to use this, I would not use it as a dust cover. I would use it as a I am eating at the desk cover, because the amount of times that I get stuff in my keyboard because I have like a bowl of soup here by accident, I can't even count. Or maybe an anti-cat walking on your keyboard. But as a dust cover, you guys are nuts. So this comes in the box. I really want to emphasize this, by the way. Like, look, so here's the 60, right? And look at the shine through on the keys. See, so the LEDs come right through. Like it's not good. See, like it's bad. It's really bad. Look at that. They fixed it. No more shine through. So it was a flaw. It was a flaw. And people were, it's crazy because Low-Free made a keyboard, this one, and the keycaps had LED shine through on the keycaps, and people went nuts. They were like, what is this? This shouldn't be like that. And rightfully so. Rightfully so. But on this keyboard, everybody was like, no, that's how it's supposed to be. Man, look, it's Hall effect. Just because it's Hall effect and it's new and shiny doesn't mean that it's good and that there isn't something that needs to be fixed. So I think this is good that they have taken the steps to rectify that. Now, the keys are still semi-made out of the same stuff, so they don't scratch as easily as these. Like I remember I showed you all the scratches on the space bar and on the keys, which, by the way, my nails are pretty damn short, so it's not really me. It's just the fact that these have a coating on it that is definitely more prone to scratching. They may have changed that in this inadvertently because when you look at these keycaps side by side, it looks as though they're thicker. So they even have like a gray outline. So this is the 75 and this is the 60. And it looks like they are thicker with a different coating. They feel slightly different. And I'm not getting as many scratches on these as I was on these, although it still will scratch. But the difference being is that I feel like I can wipe it off of the new one versus the old one. Once that scratch was there, you could not wipe it off. So that's a bonus. This is why I speak up and I give constructive criticism, even if it seems like I'm nitpicking. This is the reason. I want companies to do better for you, the consumer. I'm not paying for these boards. Let me repeat that. I'm not paying for these boards. So I have an obligation to make sure that the people that are watching these reviews are getting the truth about what could be the possible flaws, what could be the possible downsides, and how they can improve for future versions so that they do. And it looks like they did. And so that's fantastic. Like I said, if they didn't see an issue with the LEDs shining through these keycaps, then they wouldn't have changed it for the 75. Now, let's really talk about the 75 because this is the bomb. So now that we've gotten all that out of the way and we've chatted about it, so it's $149, which is $10 more expensive than the 60 HE, which I think is very reasonable. So you've got this, you've got the nice arrow keys, you've got the page up, page down, delete, all that stuff on this side, and you've got the F keys. I like this layout more. I use these keys more often. I really like having those arrow keys. Some people don't, but I feel like this is great. And for the low profile space, this really is the first of its kind. Now, let me be really clear here. Because of the distance that you have to push these keys down, I would say, due to its low profile nature, due to the size of the keycaps, and because of this distance that it travels, it feels a little clunky to type on. So to me, and I know this is subjective because of the distance, I find that this is a perfect low profile gaming keyboard. The key word there is gaming. I would not use this for my everyday typing needs. And I mean, the reason for that is pretty obvious. Like when you have a Low-Free and you get keys that sound like this, oh, like this is the typing king for low profile. And then you now have the gaming queen. There is one other thing that I do want to discuss, and it's the feet. This is something that they still haven't fixed, so I'm going to keep bringing it up until they do. These lock, the big ones, they lock. So when you have the keyboard here and you slide, it doesn't knock down those. But when you put up the little ones, they do not lock and it falls. So see, up, push forward, falls. Not a huge deal breaker, but for me, it's a major annoyance. Unless you always want it at this angle and not this angle, or you don't mind the fact that you're going to have to redo these every time you move the keyboard around, then yeah, that's the reality of most Nuphy low profile boards. They just don't put a locking mechanism on these little feet, and they have to. Like, that's the next thing they have to fix. They fix the keycaps. They put the cool shine through and awesome look on the right hand side, which is way better in my opinion than this. To me, this is the Hall Effect low profile board of the year, unless something crazy comes out before the end of the year, but I doubt it. So this to me is the one that you get. It's also affordable, and it has all of the features that you would want. It has AK polling, you know, it has adjustable actuation range. It's got rapid trigger, it has hyper tap, it has SOCD. It's hot swappable, you know, and it's got south facing backlight. Although I feel like for a gaming keyboard, you want north facing, but what do I know? We showed this last time, but I will show it again. Their software is very good. So you have different keys here, and you can right click them, and you can change anything you want on each specific key. You can add dynamic keystroke, mod tap, toggle key, rapid shifts, SOCD, hyper tap. It's very cool what you can do here. You can then go into the trigger settings and you can select which switches you want, and then you can set their actuation points. And this is fantastic. These are all really good features. So you can even select them all at once and then, you know, set them to that. And then, you know, you can see the actual actuation here triggering. It also shows you what key you're hitting. In some ways, this software is actually better than the Wutility. I'm not going to lie. Like, especially the right clicking of a key and being able to do different actions for it. Very, very cool. You can set macros. The lighting effects are pretty good. You can affect the side lights. So those are these lights over here. And yeah, overall, I'm pretty happy with this. You know, like, you can change your polling rate, and then it has like this anti-wobbliness stabilization level, which is very cool. I had never seen this. It's got the tick rate. The software on the Nuphy is really, really good, and it's getting better with each iteration. So I give them a lot of props for that. In my opinion, this is definitely the best low profile Hall Effect keyboard on the market today. Also the best offered from Nuphy. I wouldn't go with this one unless they were to recall it and give you keys that aren't shine through, and maybe perhaps move some of these over. I just feel like, because they addressed it in this, they have admitted that there's a problem in this, but they're not pulling it off their website, and they're not updating the version. So you're still going to get the busted version that they already manufactured, because they're not going to eat the loss. So you're going to keep that in mind. So to me, the 75 actually has a louder sound profile, not by much, but it's significant, and it kind of resonates a little bit more, which is likely due to the fact that it's a bigger board. So you've got a little bit of a snappier sound to this one and a little bit of a deeper echoey sound to the other one. Not something that you're going to hear on an everyday basis. So here's how I could sum up these two boards. The pros. I love the 75% layout. I like that they changed the keycaps so that the RGB doesn't shine through them. The spacebar and the stabilizers are pretty damn good. They could use a little tiny bit of lube, but in terms of even tonality, it's very good, especially from other boards I've tested, including the booting. The only thing that I could say is a little weird, and I could easily change this, is I could switch out the backspace for a non-plastic key. So the backspace is that shine through plastic key. You can see that it's reflecting right there. And it feels a little weird to go from like this texture to this. It's almost sticky. So you might want to change that specifically out, because when you're hitting backspace, you kind of feel like you're getting stuck. That's my only really, weird like con to it. And then the other one would be the non-lockable middle feet. These middle feet, I feel like they still need to be addressed. Other than that, they have addressed most of the issues I had with the 60HE. And so if you're looking for a low profile Hall effect keyboard, I do think that the Air 75HE by Nuphy is the way to go. I don't think you're going to find better software than this. I don't think you're going to find a better layout than this. I don't think you're going to find a better price than this. So they are pricing it quite well. $10 more than this, which was already priced well. I'd say that's a win. Also, they have a lot of accessories, they have a lot of keycaps, and I think you're going to be happy with this board. I think this will last you quite a bit. I don't know the longevity. I can only test it for so long, but it's good. It doesn't have Wi-Fi. It doesn't have Bluetooth. Please keep that in mind. You can use it on your Windows and Mac machine, but it does have to be plugged in. For some people, that will be a major con. For me, it is not. I keep most of my keyboards plugged in. I don't really use wireless even when I can. But I do understand that that is a deal breaker for some. I just wanted to mention it. So yeah, I hope that this was helpful. I think that this is a much improved version of the 60HE, and I'm glad that they took some of the feedback into consideration. I just wish that they would apply it to their 60HE for those that want that form factor. So if you buy that, you're not getting a worse experience than the 75HE. Yeah, I just want you all as buyers to have the best experience possible and get the best product possible. So hopefully you have enjoyed the video, and if so, you can leave it a like. If not, a dislike, and subscribe if you haven't. Hit the bell icon for notification, and as always, I will see you all in the next video. Thanks for watching.